Hello everyone. To me, gardening is a learning process. I am a beginner gardener. I consider this year my first year of gardening, and I do consider it a success, meaning I learned a lot this year. Yes, I grew some food. I had some things that didn't do quite as well as I would have liked, and I had some things that didn't do well at all. I made mistakes. In fact, yesterday I was watching a video from BC Truck about his garden, and it reminded me of one of the mistakes I made this year. When I first started putting in my garden, I started out with a couple of beds, and I decided to go with raised beds because my backyard floods every year, so I knew my garden would flood out. Little did I know we wouldn't get any rain this year, so it would have been fine. However, I went ahead and I did the raised beds, and I had heard a lot about wood chips. Wood chips are good for the garden. Wood chips, tremendous for your garden. Use wood chips, blah, blah, blah. And I failed to realize, maybe it wasn't explained, maybe I didn't do my research. But anyway, I built my beds, and I went up to the local dirt place up here. I told him I was starting some garden beds and needed some topsoil to put in my beds. Well, the first thing he recommended was some composted topsoil. I thought, well, that sounds good. So I asked him what was in it, and he was honest. He told me it was just topsoil, and he had chipped up some wood and leaves, and he had put those wood chips and those leaves in the soil, and that made it composted topsoil. Well, I'm thinking, okay, that sounds good. Composted topsoil, it's already got the wood chips in it. Wood chips are supposed to be good for the garden. So this sounds like a good deal. So I had $40 per truckload, and numerous truckloads throughout the beginning of summer or spring. I continued to buy this composted topsoil with the wood chips in it. As summer moves on and moves into fall, I'm doing more research, and I get to watch the Back to Eden gardening and some other videos, and got to watch on YouTube and some experienced gardeners on YouTube, and they're all talking about how good wood chips is for the garden. However, what I didn't realize early in the year that I know now is wood chips they have their time and their place, and depending on the time determines the place in the garden. Fresh wood chips that you just recently chipped up with your chipper out of your yard, or perhaps you had somebody deliver them to you, or however you get them, are excellent for mulch. Put them on top of the soil and around your plants. They help keep the soil moist and prevent weeds from growing, and just keeps the plants healthier in general. However, you don't want to mix those fresh wood chips into your soil. The wood chips suck the nutrients and the nitrogen right out of the soil and leaves your plants deficient. Now, all summer long, I diligently and enthusiastically watered my garden. I'd go to work and I'd come home every night and spend an hour, 45 minutes to an hour, watering my garden. And next day the soil would just be dry and cracked like you wouldn't believe. And I'm sure a good deal of that is because of the drought that we had and the extreme heat. Some mulch probably would have gone a long way. I started mulching late in the season, and I did notice a difference at that point. However, I think the biggest problem was, and the biggest mistake on my part, was buying that topsoil that had the wood chips mixed in. It just sucked the moisture right out of the ground or the soil. However, if you take your wood chips and you let them decompose and they turn into compost and good rich soil, wood chips are fantastic, or the compost from those wood chips are fantastic for mixing into your soil. So I hope for new gardeners like me, I hope you realize wood chips are great for mulch, or you can set them off, let them compost, let them sit there a year, 2 years, 3 years, depending on the size of your chips and depending on the decomposing factors will determine on how long it takes the wood chips to decompose and turn into compost. Anyway, that's one of the many lessons I learned about gardening this year. Fresh wood chips is great mulch, but you don't want to mix them into your soil. Until we speak again, thank you for watching, and as always, stay prepared.